Hello guys, welcome to Talking News, Chasing a Murderer. Please like and subscribe right now so you don't forget, guys. Also, hit that notification bell if you would like notifications whenever we have new uploads. So I wanted to go over this. We're not going to go over the entire story. I'm going to briefly introduce you or actually do a recap. So, when I first started this channel, guys, I was going to do documentaries. And I'm telling you, when Savannah Spurlock, Andrew McDonald, and Kelsey Berreth come out, those stories weighed on my heart so heavy. I felt, at the time I started this channel, they weren't covering stories like Savannah Spurlock. They just weren't doing it. So many of our channels started covering these type of stories, which drew media more to the stories they usually would kind of overlook. And I realized that made a difference. So doing the documentary thing kind of went out the window, and I started doing these stories. And let me tell you, this is not easy to do breaking news because it's constant work. Whereas documentaries, you can work on them at your own pace and do it, here and there. But stuff like this is a lot of work, guys. That's why I ask, if you do like these videos, to please, show your support. Anyways, those stories, they were all very touching. They were my first stories. And Kelsey Berreth was my first really big story. I mean, this story was huge. And I did a lot of research, the best I could anyways, with what I had available, and tried to basically figure out what the heck happened. If you haven't heard of the Kelsey Berreth story, I do have videos that I've uploaded. There's tons of them. Just try to watch kind of the later ones. So Kelsey Berreth, she is a beautiful young lady. Her mother is named Kelsey Berreth. She grew up a religious girl and well raised, a very loving individual. And in high school, she had dreams of becoming a pilot. And when she was out of high school, she made that dream come true. So she, of course, had a next goal. She wanted a family. So she met this guy online. His name was Frazee. Cowboy from Colorado, lived on a ranch with his mother. They had cattle, they bred dogs like border collies and things like this. They met. She fell in love. I know she fell in love head over heels. Never was sure about Frazee. She ended up moving to Colorado in a small town called Woodland, Colorado. She bought a townhome there. It's just a few miles from Frazee's ranch. She ended up pregnant. They had a daughter together, a beautiful daughter. I'm not going to use her name because she's going to want to move forward from here on. And it was just what you would think a perfect life if you were to talk to Kelsey. But behind the scenes, the two really weren't hanging out all that often. They would kind of pass by, kind of switching the baby back and forth, according to Frazee anyway. Now, there's hints, and this isn't fact, that Kelsey Berreth was kind of thinking about not, pursuing their relationship with Frazee any longer. Or she was thinking of taking another job. Hopefully that'll come out soon. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, Thanksgiving comes up at 4 in the morning. She returns home after being out with Frazee to go medicate cattle, is what we're told. Frazee ends up getting a stomach ache, feeling pretty sick on his stomach, and he wants to go home. So Kelsey Berreth takes him home. She drops him off and she goes back to her townhome. I always said that he had plans to do something to Kelsey Berreth that night, but backed out. Early that morning, Kelsey Berreth talks to her mother, Cheryl, and they talk about Christmas. They talk about a recipe that she's going to cook, a yam casserole for Patrick. And Kelsey ends up heading to the Safeway in Woodland Park where she shops for a few items, a poinsettia, and the Safeway cameras capture her going into that store and leaving. But little did anybody realize that knew her that that would be the last time anyone would see Kelsey Berreth. Long story short, guys, Kelsey Berreth, after a long investigation and going back and forth, it took them a while to figure out that she was missing. And it was because of her mother that they found out that she was missing. And if it wasn't for her mother pushing, I don't think anything would have ever happened. They trace her phone to Idaho, where another woman will come into play. Her name is Krystal Lee. That's both her last names that she uses. And she is a nurse. She's also considered a rodeo queen, basically. She's into the same things Patrick is, the rodeos and that sort of thing. And it isn't long for the FBI is hot on her trail, so they're able to get her to talk a little bit, and they find out that things did go wrong with Kelsey Berreth as they were starting to suspect, and it had to do with Patrick Frazee, and it was way worse than they could have anticipated. They were able to corner Krystal and, tell her, look, bad can happen for you unless you start sharing something. So Krystal Lee starts to talk. This nurse starts to talk, and she says that Patrick Frazee called her on Thanksgiving and told her, you need to get here now. You got a mess to clean up. So she shows up to the townhome, and she says there is blood everywhere. Now, you guys remember that we didn't have much of that evidence. We didn't have much of anything showing us the scene. So now we have pictures and things that we can go over that scene, and that's what we're going to do right now. But for those of you that is new to the story, like I said, if you want to know the story, refer to my older videos. Okay, so this is a picture of Krystal Lee. So this is the nurse involved with this case. She's the reason Patrick Frazee is now spending his life behind bars. We have to be thankful for that. Anyways, these are the photographs Thanksgiving of Patrick Frazee going in and out of Kelsey Berreth's townhome, and you can see that he has his daughter in his arms. And when we heard them talking about this photo or this video, we understood that they weren't sure who was in that image, but it's pretty clear that you can tell that that's Patrick Frazee and their daughter. So it's approximately between 12 and 1 o'clock, let's say 1:30 to be safe, because I don't have the times in front of me, that he walks in this door. It's about that time that nobody ever receives our true text from Kelsey Berreth, because we do know that Patrick Frazee had, and so did Krystal Lee, had Kelsey Berreth's phone and were texting with her boss and her mother, posing as Kelsey. So a lot of us were kind of wondering whether or not Krystal Lee was part of the actual slaying of Kelsey, but it appears that it was only one man involved. And the sad part about this to me is the fact you see the daughter going in there, and you just hope. I just hope. That's just sad. What do you tell their daughter when she gets old enough that she was in the room when this happened? Couldn't imagine of having, such a horrific story to tell to your grandchild. So we all seen this photo of Patrick Frazee when he was shopping with his daughter in Walmart, and you can see that he has on the same hat and everything that was in the video, the image before. Okay, so here's another photo of Patrick, who said that he dropped his child off in a parking lot with Kelsey Berreth. But Kelsey Berreth has the poinsettias in her hand here, which means that she's unloading her car after going to Safeway. So this video is probably from around in between 9 to 12 o'clock. I would say even 12, maybe 12:35 actually. I'm trying to remember, guys, that she is returning from Safeway. So definitely they did not switch off the daughter in the parking lot like Patrick Frazee said. This is my first time seeing it with you guys. I just took pictures of it and then I'm going over it, so I'm uncovering everything with you. Okay, so the next photo here is of Patrick Frazee leaving Kelsey Berreth's townhome. This is the black tote that they talk about that was in the back of his truck, where they suspect that Kelsey's remains were. Now Patrick Frazee, when he leaves here, he goes to a friend's farm, uses a tractor to put her remains on a haystack until after Thanksgiving dinner with his family. And so we finally have a few pictures and images coming out showing where Kelsey remains were for a period of time before he and Krystal Lee recover her remains and take them back to Patrick Frazee's ranch. So at this time, Krystal Lee has already cleaned up the townhome, I believe. Now I'm not, it's been a long time, guys. And they pick Kelsey up and they drive, if I can remember, I think it's a little bit of a distance from there to Patrick Frazee's ranch, where they take the remains, including Kelsey Berreth's belongings like her Bible and purse that Krystal collected from her townhome, and they put it into a trough at Patrick Frazee's ranch with wood stacked up on it, gasoline, and set it ablaze. We heard that Krystal Lee worked and cooperated with the investigators tremendously, but we were not happy with her regardless. I mean, how could she not have stopped this before it happened? There were several people involved with this case that could have prevented this but didn't. But anyways, here's a video of Krystal Lee showing investigators spots that she cleaned up.
Okay, so with this broom, can you area where you saw and clean blood up on the wall? You just hold it there so we can picture that. Okay, anywhere else?
Oh, it was the spray was from here all the way. I had to clean up underneath here, then it was all down here, and I know that I didn't get there. I don't know that I got some of this underneath here because I didn't move the chairs to get it.
Okay, so watching this is like my first time watching this. It's a little disturbing realizing what she just said. She said she thought there was some behind here because she didn't want to move the chair. We heard in her past reasons as to why there might have been something left behind is because she did it on purpose. So I guess she can't make up her mind what the truth is. But also what's disturbing is we realize she is a nurse and that she deals with trauma type things all the time. So blood wouldn't be devastating, but what should be devastating is the fact that this is a murder that she is connected to. Sorry guys for the background noise. I have a lot of birds here. And so they made me lose my train of thought. She's involved with something this serious, but her demeanor is very, very calm. I mean, she's concentrating. You can see that she's concentrating. She's, thinking. She's trying to show them. She's working with them. But her mind state, I just think that someone going through something like that should be a little bit more shooken up, wouldn't you think? Maybe I'm a a weakling or a sissy. I don't know. I just don't think I would be handling that so well if that were me. Okay, so what I noticed also is Kelsey Berreth has white walls in his townhome, and if there was residue sprayed all over that white wall, how in the world was she able to clean it so well? That, you know, was very interesting to me, because if you know about I hate to say the word because then they don't monetize it. I say residue, guys. The residue will sink pretty deep into especially a flat paint. So did they paint it? What did they do? That's what I want to know, is how in the world did she get all of that off of there without leaving any stains? And if it's sunk in pretty deep, how did they do it without leaving any marks? Anyway, so we'll move to the next video, which actually shows you where investigators had to pull up the entire floor in that townhome because there was so much residue in the townhome. It was seeping through the cracks and to underneath the planks, I guess. Now, I'm not seeing anything there, but perhaps they might have already cleaned it up. I don't know. But it's just, you can see, it's nice to see the photos that we've heard about, but we haven't seen. So again, you know, we know that Krystal Lee Kinney, she made this plea deal. She only got at tops 3 years. Plus, I can't remember how much probation, but there was a bit of probation involved. A lot of people were disappointed about that. But to be honest with you guys, after you got the, you know, be thankful that she did finally fess up, because she could have went with this and they would have both gotten away with it. Now, I remember them saying that Krystal was scared to death to mention to anybody what Patrick Frazee was talking to her about. But we do know that there was a point that she was helping Patrick Frazee plan this attack on Kelsey Berreth, because she's the one, and well, in one affidavit she said she suggested the poison. Then another affidavit come out and it kind of reworded that, so I really don't know what's going on with that. But poison does, in my opinion, sound like something a woman would bring up more than a guy. Okay, so the next photo that is out right now is this one of Patrick Frazee in his truck filling up a gas can that allegedly is used to ignite the trough of stuff that he put in that trough, and that includes the black tote bag, including all of Kelsey Berreth's personal items. Now remember, guys, they never ever recovered Kelsey Berreth, ever. Krystal Lee Kinney said that Patrick Frazee said he would take her either to the landfill or to a river, but they spent months, I think it was 3 months, searching the landfill, but never found anything. And as much wood and gasoline and all that, it's gonna be, I really had not very much hope. But I was hoping anyways. And I think I was hoping not for myself as I was for Kelsey's mother, because my gosh, that woman held herself together so well through all this. And she should be proud that she was able to be there for her daughter and maintain her composure like a true lady, because she absolutely handled it amazing. So those of you that might not have known about this story, Cheryl Berreth, which is Carol Berreth's, sorry. All right, so Cheryl Berreth is Kelsey Berreth's mother. She's the one that actually has custody of their daughter right now, and I believe that the courts are going to end up letting her keep the daughter indefinitely, but to be honest with you, I haven't had time to check up on that. Okay, so here's another piece of evidence they were able to add in. I guess it's that little black stain on the very top, if you can see that. I really can't see very well in these pictures. I wish they were better. I am very proud of the prosecutors. They handled this pretty well because they were able to convict without a physical remains. And so this is because, again, if it wasn't for Krystal Lee Kinney, they wouldn't have been able to do that. So what I'm hearing right now is Krystal Lee Kinney might be going to a mental institution or getting out from behind bars. Now, I haven't been able to check up on that lately either, but that's something I have heard. So if you have time, you can check it out. Let me know. I know a lot of people are not happy about that. Not happy at all, because this is a woman that took the phone. She was texting people. She was helping Patrick clean up the scene, and it was a devastating scene. She goes back to Idaho to her family. She has children. She has friends that kept their mouths shut. This was a devastating story. I just can't believe she actually went through this, and all because, well, she said it was because of fear, but a lot of people feel that's not the truth. Maybe a little bit. It was mainly they will do anything for love. We know Krystal played a bigger part because she actually showed up 3 times to actually take Kelsey Berreth out herself, but chicken out. At one of the times where she was supposed to poison Kelsey Berreth's favorite coffee beverage from Starbucks, she buys this beverage, takes it to Kelsey Berreth's townhome, knocks on the door. Kelsey actually answers the door, and she feeds her a bunch of bull, saying that she's a neighbor and that she appreciates her helping her with her dog, which Kelsey Berreth probably is looking at her like she's crazy. Like, I haven't helped anybody with a dog. And she claims that there was nothing in that coffee, but what we hear is Kelsey Berreth poured that coffee down the sink, which anybody in their right mind, if you had a stranger come up, especially that you've never seen before, claiming that you helped them with something and handing you a favorite drink that they shouldn't even know that is your favorite, yeah, that's going to put up some red flags big time. So, guys, let's watch this again. Now that we know what we know that Krystal Lee Kinney had 3 attempts, according to her, and that's what she's admitting to, on Kelsey Berreth's life. There could be even 4 when I last researched. She's backed into a corner after taking Kelsey Berreth's phone to Idaho to get rid of it. And this is Krystal Lee Kinney shortly after FBI locate her. All of a sudden, Krystal Lee Kinney is working with prosecutors.
When you came in,
so when they went to court, it didn't take long for the jury to deliberate and bring out the verdict.
Just hours ago, we were hearing closing statements, and now we have a verdict.
Patrick Frazee would spend the rest of his life behind bars. But I don't think people realize how seriously ill this man was. While he was behind bars awaiting trial, he had already tried to make plans with another inmate to kill nearly everyone who was to make or take the stand in the court, including Krystal Lee Kinney, as well as Kelsey Berreth's parents. He was just plain evil. He's vindictive, and he's determined to get you. It consumes him. So, even though he's behind bars, this doesn't mean that he isn't going to continue to try to take someone else's life that he feels has betrayed him, his family, and his daughter. So we realize he was caught once trying to solicit homicide inside, behind bars, in the Teller County Jail itself. He had that inmate was a witness against Patrick Frazee during the trial. But what's scary, guys, he's going to continue and continue until finally there's no absolute way that he can still try to find a way to hurt these people. That is horrifying. But anyways, guys, go ahead and close this out right now. And I'm working on another video, but I did want to do a quick update on Kelsey Berreth because she's one of my first stories, and it hit, home. It was really, this story meant a lot to a lot of us. So still looking forward to complete justice for the Kelsey Berreth family. As we know, he is behind bars, but they have not found her. So we're sending love out to that family. Guys, thanks so much for being here, caring, and watching. And I'll see you guys soon.